So what's up? So 30 years ago, the whack racist Grammys whited out hip hop awards presidents, and it's kind of funny now that you see a lot of rappers on the show, and the Grammys then shucked and jived and then fooled a whole generation. But I remember 30 years ago when it was blacked out. They were outside from Public Enemy and Will Smith and Queen Latifah, etc. Salt and Pepper weren't allowed into the big building. All the white faces, all the prestigious with that that overrated Grammy award. I said your music and you aren't allowed in. And it was very racist what the Grammys did then. And I remember it just like yesterday. The Grammys have always been racist against folks, but this in particular with hip hop, and you think about it, was 10 years after that whole disco demolition night in Chicago. So then you fast forward the Grammys doing this in '89 when they would not allow uh, hip hop to be televised or presented. So it was very eye opening. And it's those things, those moments and times that you remember. So you wonder what has become of hip hop. Why did they get so soft for the corporate brand? Why did they just mellow move meow and mellow out with it when the fight was real? And don't get it twisted. It's been a $1 trillion business for the music industry. It's been the most important music movement. You know, they always try to downplay it. They try to do this, but it's been hand over fist, not fist, but fist, because it's made a ton, a chunk of money, you know, and all different types of rappers and backgrounds. But this is a reminder of those evil forces that weren't that long ago that they didn't want to have the music dealt with, and they didn't want to acknowledge it. And you need to understand about the history of the Grammys. They ain't about it. They're not about black folks. They've always done a way to kind of be a disservice. Any of those so-called prestigious awards are just racist and hokey because they don't do the full benefit. And it's important to remember that a lot of MCs and a lot of people that were coming along then not only were being uh, profiled and shut out by radio, but these award shows and what they about. And that's 30 years ago, ain't that long ago, that they was trying to rein on an art form that would end up being their cash cow. Because let's be realistic, hip hop runs the industry. It was cheaper to produce, easier to manipulate, and stretchable to benefit a lot of pockets, even people who don't even necessarily like it. But this is the truth about it. So it was 30 years ago around this time when the Grammys refused to show hip hop artists. And you ask yourself, what's that tell you about the Grammys and what they really mean in their racist, discriminatory behavior when now it's a cash cow? That's my take on remembering about 30 years ago with the Grammys showing their racism against hip hop on their show. For free, leave them comments, hit them subscribe. I'm out. Peace.